morning to all. Myself Professor Archana from Department of Petroleum Engineering. We are continuing on Module 5 and today I am going to talk about carbon capture techniques at Jobson. So lastly we were discussing the carbon capture techniques. Under that we do talk about absorption and we have covered physical absorption and chemical absorption. So moving on. Seeing this diagram, we have started with this diagram and here the different absorption technique we do had. Under chemical, I do covered amine, ammonia, PZ and others. And similarly under the physical absorption, we do talk about reactive salt, xylazole, purisol, ionic liquid and others. So moving on, now we have reached to the adsorption and I am going to talk about the physical and chemical adsorption. And under the chemical adsorption we do have amine based adsorbent, metal oxide and others. Similarly under the physical adsorption we do have the activated carbon, zeolite and others, and along with that we do have the regeneration unit as a temperature swing apparatus and pressure swing device we do have. So we are going to talk about the adsorption. So what is the mechanism of adsorption? This is the first question. So adsorption is an exothermic surface phenomena that can be divided into two main classes. The first one is a physiosorption and the second one we do have the chemisorption. So as the name suggests, physiosorption is something, it is a physical process and physiosorption is governed by intermolecular forces between the adsorbate and the adsorbent, whereas chemisorption is characterized by the formation of a new chemical bond with the binding energy greater than equal to 0.5. So it should be noted that this value is a general guideline and there are instances of a physiosorption that exceed this value. So this is the general where we are talking about formation of a chemical bond with a binding energy is greater than equal to 0.5 eV per molecule or 48.2 kilojoule per mole. So this is the adsorption. So what we understand it here, adsorption is nothing but it is a surface phenomena and it is a exothermic surface phenomena, and that the whole adsorption process we can have the physical adsorption or we can have the chemical adsorption, and the physical adsorption we call that physisorption and for the chemical adsorption the terminology used is a chemisorption, and this physiabsorption is governed by intermolecular forces between the adsorbate which is going to get it adsorbed. So we do have the two thing here, two terminology. One is adsorbate and another one is adsorbent. So if we are taking the CO2 which we require to remove it here, so CO2 and adsorbent we can take it zeolite here. So this zeolite is nothing but the adsorbent and CO2 is nothing but the adsorbate. So we do have a impurity which is CO2 which required to be removed from the stream of the gases, that is considered adsorbate, and we require the adsorbent to get it adsorbed. So we do have the zeolite in the given example here. So chemisorption is sometimes described as specific since a given adsorbate will only react with a specific site. For instance, in case of a post-combustion capture, if we are talking about, CO2 will form a bond with NH2 functional group, whereas N2 will not form the bond with the NH2 functional group. So this is our chemisorption which we are specifying sometime as specific because given adsorbate will only react with a specific site. So if we do have the CO2 and N2, so in case of a post combustion capture, CO2 is getting bond with the N2H functional group. Then adsorption is exothermic due to the forward process occurring spontaneously on a clean adsorbent where Gibbs free energy is less than 0, and that the adsorbate has fewer degree of freedom open adsorption to the surface from bulk where entropy is less than 0. So requiring the enthalpy change of the process is also be less than 0. So this is about the thermodynamics. When we are talking about adsorption is exothermic, and it is due to forward process occurring spontaneously on a clean adsorbent. So adsorbent here we do have a charcoal or zeolite or molecular sieve. Chemisorption is characterized by the formation of a chemical bond between the adsorbate and the adsorption site. There is a subcategory of chemisorption known as dissociative chemisorption, where polyatomic or usually diatomic adsorbate will break their intramolecular bond to form bonds with the surface. So considering a chemical reaction must take place for chemisorption to occur, there is an associated energy barrier. So if the adsorption temperature is too low, there may be insufficient thermal energy to overcome this barrier and achieve the equilibrium. So this is normally characterized by the maximum in the adsorption isobar. So for carbon capture application, the most common CO2 chemisorbent are based on amine functional groups and metal oxide. If we go back to the previous slide, so under the chemical adsorption, what we have amine based adsorbent, and then we do have the metal oxide, and we are talking about the others. When we are talking about the physical adsorption, we do have the activated carbon, zeolite and molecular sieves. And then we do have the further regeneration, we have the PSA, TSA, VSA and PTSA. So here we are for carbon capture application, the most common CO2 chemisorbent are based on amine functional group and metal oxide. So this contrasts with physiosorption, where equilibrium can be achieved quickly at any temperature so long as there are no mass transfer limitations. We do have the with respect to physiosorption. So other differences to physiosorption is associated with the desorption of the adsorbate or the regeneration of the adsorbent. So we do have here also, in case of adsorption, we require to first desorb the adsorbate, or we can call that regeneration of the adsorbent. So physiosorption is a non-destructive process, and adsorbate can return to the bulk phase in its original form, and the adsorbent retain its original chemistry. So in case of a physiosorption, it is possible that either or both species will irreversibly damage, and this can be observed in some adsorption isotherm where chemisorption has taken place and there is significant desorption hysteresis open reduction in pressure indicating irreversibility. So this is the problem or characteristic of your physiosorption and chemisorption. So what in gist we understand it here, physiosorption is a non-destructive process and the adsorbate can return to the bulk phase in its original form, and adsorbent retain its original chemistry, but this is not the case with the chemisorption. Here in case of a chemisorption, there is a chances of irreversibility, and it is explained here. It is possible that either or both species will irreversibly damage. So in those cases, we have to go for the elevated temperature greater than 300 to 400 centigrade may be required to regenerate the adsorbent. So for amine functionalized adsorbents, the adsorbent may not be thermally stable under those conditions, and other approaches may be required, and the inclusion of water vapor in the regeneration gas flow is one of such approach or option. We do have it. So here we understand the regeneration process in case of a physiosorption and chemisorption. So moving on, here I am putting the physical adsorption. Now we are talking, so we get it, the physical physiosorption and chemisorption. So moving towards the physical adsorption, adsorption of CO2 on physical sorbent is based on selective intermolecular forces between your molecule of the gases and surface of the solid or liquid sorbent. So that's the understanding we develop. So this physical adsorption, when we are talking about, it is based on the selective intermolecular forces between your molecule of the gases and the surface of the solid or liquid adsorbent. So during the physical adsorption process, the flue gas stream is passed through the adsorbent chamber. Here one representative diagram of CO2 separation from flue gases was shown, where what we can see, flue gases is getting entered from bottom of the tower, and then we do have here one more unit was shown, that we call that pressure temperature swing to dissolve the CO2. So here during the physical adsorption process, the flue gas stream is passed through an adsorbent chamber where selective separation of CO2 takes place. So when flue gas is getting into the tower, you do have the presence of CO2 and 2, but what it is getting selectively separated, CO2 is getting selectively separated. And here what we are showing in the desorption state, or we have the regeneration where we are using the temperature pressure swing to dissolve the CO2. So the degree of selectivity of CO2 for adsorption is dependent upon, it does depend on the different parameters. So first parameter is the temperature, then we do have the partial pressure, then surface forces and adsorbent pore sizes. So the single or multiple layers of gases can be adsorbed, that we call the single layer adsorption, or we call it multi-layer adsorption. So here single or multiple layer of gases can be adsorbed, and the adsorption can be selective to a certain extent. So there will be available site, active site would be there, where this CO2 or adsorbent will get it adsorbed on the adsorbent. So the prevalent method for regeneration of adsorbent material are as shown in the figure. We do have the temperature pressure swing to dissolve the CO2. So the prevalent method for regeneration of adsorbent material are pressure swing, temperature swing, electrical swing, and washing operation. It does depend on the flue gas composition as well as on the adsorption parameter. So we have the adsorption parameter, temperature, partial pressure, surface forces, adsorbent pore sizes. So pressure swing, temperature swing, electrical swing operation utilize extreme change in parameter with respect to adsorption and regeneration state. So in case of the pressure swing, the pressure of the adsorption chamber is normally dropped to very low values for regeneration. So this is the operation for the pressure swing. So whenever we are using, or wherever it was using pressure swing desorption unit, so here the mode of operation would be pressure of the desorption chamber will be normally dropped to very low values for regeneration to occur. On the other hand, when we are talking regeneration via temperature swing, it does require increase in temperature. So in one scenario, for the pressure swing, we require temperature to be dropped. In the other scenario, when we are talking about the temperature swing, here we need temperature to be increased. And in case of electrical swing is performed by changing the electric current through the adsorbent bed. And the another option we do have, passing of the adsorbent bed is also possible using liquid with high affinity of CO2. However, the adsorption process is not preferred method for CO2 capture in large-scale industrial treatment of flue gases because existing adsorbent are in general with low capacity and limited selectivity for CO2. So this is very important point. So here what we get it is not being the preferred method for CO2 capture in case of a large scale industrial treatment. So what are the different physical adsorption? We do have the option available. So first one is the adsorbent, here we are talking about. So we do have the molecular sieves. Molecular sieve can naturally occurring material such as your zeolite or non-zeolite such as aluminophosphate, silico-aluminophosphate and silica, as well as it can be tailor-made to desired pore structure to pass the gas molecule on the selective basis. So they differentiate gas molecule based on their kinetic diameter and relative size of the pore channel. So talking about the zeolite, CO2 capture can be performed by naturally occurring as well as tailor-made geolite to meet the specific requirements of the gas separation. So there are many reports on separation of a CO2 and H2 using geolite of different pore sizes and effective surface area. So we have the parameter here, pore sizes, so that are different pore sizes and effective surface area. So in case of a smaller pore size geolite, relatively a smaller gas molecule such as N2O2 N2 can be passed through, whereas CO2 is retained. So the importance of pore size is, if we do have the smaller pore size, this CO2 cannot get it adsorbed there. Alternatively, larger pore sizes with or without surface treatment can selectively retain H2 and other smaller molecule via Knudsen diffusion, while CO2 can pass through unhindered. So the other adsorbent, we do have the activated carbon. Activated carbon has extremely porous micro and mesostructure. The well-developed pore structure and surface chemistry governed by the presence of heteroatoms such as oxygen, nitrogen, and others of activated carbon are highly suitable for their application in adsorption of a numerous compound. So the activated carbon has a particle size between zero point 0.1 to 5 micron. So in general, the CO2 capture capacity of activated carbon are lower compared to geolite and molecular sieve under low pressure and ambient condition. Nevertheless, larger CO2 capture capacities at higher pressure, ease of regeneration, potentially as low-cost alternative, and tolerance to moisture are some of the strengths of this process. So this is about the three different adsorbent we do talk about: molecular sieve, geolite, and activated carbon. So now we will be discussing some of the processes under the adsorption processes. So one is the fixed bed of adsorption. So what we get it the idea of from the fixed bed adsorption. Adsorption is a unit operation that can be done in a couple of different ways. So the most common and easiest to think about is so-called fixed bed, which has shown in the this figure 2, we can call it here. So in this system, what is happening? Let's first see the system. So this the one we are mentioning, it is a fixed bed absorber. So in fixed bed absorber, CO2 is captured in two steps. In the first step, which is shown in the left side, the CO2 is selectively adsorbed from the flue gases. So flue gases is getting entered from the bottom, and at the exhaust we are getting the pure N2. So what is happening? There is a selective adsorption is there in this particular adsorber, we do have it. So CO2 is selectively adsorbed from the flue gas. This adsorption beds need to be regenerated once it is saturated with the CO2. So when the regeneration process works, so when we are going ahead with the regeneration, when we do have the bed is saturated with the adsorbate, so we go for the regeneration. So the figure on the right depicts the second regeneration step, in which CO2 is produced. In this step, the bed is heated and purge gas displaces the adsorbed CO2. Now there is a purge gas is sent from the top, and it is a hot gas, and due to this sending of the purge gas, what is happening? Adsorbed CO2 is getting dissolved and we are able to capture the pure CO2. So this is the process here. So in this system, what we understand, a flue gas enters and flow onto a bed of a solid material which selectively adsorbs CO2. The gas that exits the system is nearly pure N2 and CO2 is retained on the bed. So this process can continue until bed is saturated, at which point CO2 will break through and show up in the exhaust. So if we have to check this one, to how long the bed is not saturated, so we have to put some monitoring system which will measure the gas, outlet gas, and if there is a breakthrough of CO2, that means this bed is completely saturated with the CO2 and there is no more CO2, no more site are available to CO2 to get it adsorbed. At that point of saturation, the bed needs to be regenerated, which is accomplished by running the either using increasing the temperature or by decreasing the partial pressure. So if we are increasing the temperature, so the unit we call the temperature. swing. And if we have the decreasing the pressure, that means we are talking about the pressure swing. So, and how else we can do here in this example, by introducing a purge gas, we are able to do this desorption, and finally nearly pure CO2 we are able to recover. So this is the operation for the fixed bed. Talking about the fluidized bed adsorption, that is another option we do have. So that what is why we have to go for the fluidized bed adsorption. So it is advantage of fixed bed adsorption is that it is a batch process. That means when we are going ahead with this one, so this and this, it is the same unit. So this is unit 1, this is unit 1. The here the thing. First we have the operation in unit 1 from where here flue gas is coming from the bottom, and then we are getting pure N2 at the top from the exhaust, and there is some molecules are there, solid sites are there, and these solid sites are basically designed specifically to select selective CO2 from the your flue gas. Once the system will get it saturated, we go for the regeneration, and that time that means it is not the continuous operation. So this is the one thing here. So for example, if we are now moving towards the fluidized bed, and the problem with the fixed bed, we have get it, the disadvantage of a fixed bed adsorption is that it is a batch process, meaning that process must be interrupted periodically to change the direction of the flow. So in industry, there are many good reasons to prefer using a continuous operation. For example, if we are talking about the coal-fired power plant cannot be shut down just to accommodate the replacement or regeneration of an adsorption unit. Therefore, we need to run two adsorber in parallel, one in adsorption mode and other in the regeneration mode. So this is not always the most efficient way to operate an adsorption process. So for that, we do have an option called the fluidized bed adsorber, were developed to use solid in continuous process configuration so that the adsorption process proceed without any interruption, just like the power plant. So to use a fluidized bed, by flowing a gas through a powder, it will behave like a liquid. So such a fluidized bed allow us to bring the flow of a solid particle from bottom of the column to the top. Once the particle reach the top, they can flow to the bottom through the gravity, absorbing the CO2 gas that flows upward on their way when they are coming to down. So when the particle gets to the bottom, they are regenerated and ready to enter the adsorption section. So this is our process of fluidized bed. So here I am putting this the figure 3. Okay, we can cut this. This is the figure 3. So this is the conceptual design of fluidized bed system for CO2 capture and adsorption regeneration. So this is the one we are talking. It is a getting flue gas from bottom, and then we do have this the tower we are talking about. So this is nothing but this, just to show I put it here. It is a conceptual design for fluidized bed system. So this is the way the operation takes place. So no further talk about this figure. So now we are talking about temperature and pressure swing adsorption. So that is these two unit, either we will go ahead with the temperature or pressure swing adsorption as part of your regeneration or desorption. So let us look at how we can operate a fixed bed adsorption column we have already seen. So as in absorption, the key thermodynamic property is the amount of a captured CO2. In this case, the amount that adhere to the adsorbent. So when we are talking about the adsorbent, so how we are going to get that how much amount has been adhered or get it adsorbed on the adsorbent. So this whole information we are going to get it from the adsorption isotherm. So the pressure of the gas or the pressure of the flue gas is sufficiently low such that adsorption is proportional to the partial pressure of CO2. So according to the Henry's law. So we do have the proportionality constant here that we call the Henry's coefficient, and as mentioned it is a temperature dependent. So we do have the system here, temperature and pressure swing adsorption. So to dissolve the CO2, we heat our adsorbent to final temperature, for which we dissolve. At that point, it will dissolve completely CO2 from the bed. So at this point, the adsorption isotherm shows that there is still some CO2 left in the material, and the total amount of CO2 we remove in an adsorption and desorption cycle is defined as a working capacity of the material. So when we are talking about the desorption, it is not the 100% efficient. Some amount of CO2 will be still adsorbed on the bed. So that we call the working capacity of the material. So this process we do have, first we are talking about the temperature swing operation, where what is being done, there is a heat is being as a media, and using the heat the desorption is taking place. And then one more form, alternative form of operation, here we do have the pressure swing adsorption. In this mode we do not change the temperature, rather we lower the partial pressure. So this can be done by flowing a purge gas over the adsorber. So in the purge gas, the partial pressure of a CO2 is very low, therefore most of the CO2 will get it dissolved. So of course we can also change both temperature and pressure and use a combined pressure temperature swing. So that we call the PT and pressure temperature. So here what we are doing, we are changing the pressure temperature, and we call that it is a hybrid, or it is a mixture of both. So this is the one we are talking, temperature and pressure swing adsorption. So we do have the here temperature, and then we are using the pressure swing operation. So this we do have adsorption, and then we do have the regeneration. Here we do have the adsorption, then we do have the regeneration. So the working capacity of material can be changed by modifying the operational condition. Example, if we operate the dissolver at higher temperature, we will get a largely working capacity. Increasing the working capacity seems to be good thing, as we need less adsorbent to capture the same amount of the material. So this is about the adsorption. So now we reach to the conclusion. So in the today's discussion, I started the talk about CO2 adsorption, CO2 capture by adsorption. So adsorption is what? It is a carbon capture method where CO2 molecule stick to the surface of the solid material. So here adsorption, gas stick to the surface, and previously we do talk about the absorption, gas goes into the bulk of the liquid or solid. So how adsorption works? So flue gas from power plant or industry passes through the column. The column contains solid adsorbent material, either it is a fixed or fluidized. CO2 molecules attached to the surface of the solid. Other gases will pass through from the exhaust. So other gases, it may be N2O2, that would pass from the exhaust. Later, CO2 is released in regeneration step. So for the regeneration step, we do have the heating option, and we call that temperature swing adsorption, or TSA. Then another option we do had reducing pressure, we call the pressure swing adsorption, or PSA. Then one more option we do had, that is a vacuum swing adsorption, or we call the VSA. Talking about the some common adsorbent material, we do have the activated carbon, zeolite, metal organic framework, MOF, and amine functionalized solid. So talking about activated carbon, it is a cheap, high surface area, work better at higher pressure. Talking characteristic of zeolite, it is a crystalline aluminosilicate. It is a very selective for CO2 and sensitive to moisture. So this metal organic framework, or MOF, very high surface area, highly tunable, still expensive. Talking about the amine functionalized solid, it is a chemically bind CO2, or it will be used for the chemisorption, good for low concentration like air capture. What the different type of adsorption we do talk about? First one was the physical, or we call that physiosorption or physical adsorption. Here weak van der Waals forces are there. It is a reversible process, lower energy needed for regeneration. And we do talk about the chemical adsorption, we call chemisorption also. So strong chemical bond does able to have the selective adsorption and higher energy needed to release the CO2. If you talk about the advantages, lower corrosion compared to your liquid solvent, then no solvent evaporation. In case of absorption, we do have the solvent evaporation also. Can operate at room temperature. Modular system design it has. If you talk about the disadvantages, adsorbent can degrade over time, sensitive to moisture, especially geolite, energy needed for regeneration, and then high cost for advanced material MOF, that is your metal organic framework. Now, if we do talk about the application part, it can be applied to post-combustion capture, pre-combustion capture, direct air capture, or biogas upgrading. So this is all about your adsorption. In the today's discussion, we have covered this all topic. So this is all for today. See you in the next class. Thank you.